It's always me against them. Why is it that my team just doesn't support me? Like, they're always looking for an opportunity to get around me, gosh. Do you feel sometimes like it's you against them? Do you feel like your team is not solidly behind you? What is fueling that? Was there a time that the team was together? What happened? Welcome to another episode of HR Growth Network podcast with Olutoyin Williams. Thank you for joining me. In this episode, we're going to be talking about that feeling that some HR people feel where it's a me versus you. How does that translate to the world of work and especially managing HR teams? So, in this series, was focused on supporting senior HR professionals who are looking to get into even more visible and more senior roles in the organization or outside of the organization. There are some instances where HR people feel that their team is against them. And this could have been as a result of maybe some issues that haven't been resolved, some performance conversations that didn't go well, some interpersonal conflicts within the team that wasn't properly resolved. So I'm speaking to you as the team lead in this HR team, and you feel that your people are against you. What is fueling that feeling? Can you please cast your mind back to maybe the last 12 months, the last 24 months? What has happened in your team? Was there a time when there was harmony, when everyone worked together and supported each other and was looking to help the team succeed before things began to fractionize? And then it was a case of it's us against you, or we against you, or me against you. Was there a time that the team was together? What happened? My podcast, I would love you to interact by getting out your notes and just try and answer these questions as I ask them. Feel free to pause the podcast at any point in time if you need to do some more introspection. So, was there a time when the team was together? What did you do to foster those feelings of harmony? At what point in time did people start to feel like they needed to look out for themselves and you started to feel like they were against you? It's really important for you to go down memory lane, as it was, because this didn't happen by chance. Whatever situation you have in your team right now, that feeling of them versus you versus them, it didn't happen by choice. It didn't happen by chance. Something ignited it, something caused it. So let's try and trace back to what caused it. Like I hinted, were there some performance conversations that were not properly handled? Were there some conflicts, interpersonal conflicts within the team that were not properly resolved? Now, herein lies the challenge of leadership. You need to wear the hat of a leader, of course, while being the personnel, while being part of the team, but then you're responsible for the team. And what that means is that from time to time, there might be some instances where you have to take a really difficult decision. My question to you is, are you being human about that decision? Can I see your humaneness in that decision? Yes, there might even be a business decision to let someone go, but how? It's in the how. How was it done? Was it done in such a way that we empathized with the individual, we understood how this was going to be a challenge for them, and where possible, we informed them to let them know that this was going to happen? Not that we delivered the bad news and we delivered it and left them high and dry. Because sometimes when you find teams that are fractioned in this manner, it's not really because of something that has happened to a current member of the team. It's something that happened to a past member of the team, and then the rest are feeling like, really? He could do that? she could do that, then we're not safe. So then you find the team taking sides with the individual that has left, and you have to deal with that. So, how do you deal with it? I often like to take the approach of, if a negative situation has occurred, what do we learn from it? We're not going to run away from it, because that's an act of cowardice. We're not going to run away from it. And neither are we going to be bragging about it. You know how someone could just say, you know what, so that's happened and that's that, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. We're not going to do that. Rather, we're going to try to respectfully approach the situation. We're going to try to discuss the situation, and we're going to try and see what we can take out of this. Because that situation may reoccur again, and we need to have the tools to be able to manage that situation in a way that has a much better impact on the team, a much better productive outcome for the team. So let's go back to it. If such a situation has occurred in your team, how do you begin to address it? How do you begin to try to navigate those emotions? And I know that those emotions could be raw. People could be really hurt and angry, but you're the team lead. You're the person who's responsible for managing all of these people. You're not going to leave it and say, you know what, I'm going to avoid talking about it for as long as I can avoid talking about it. But the results have made your team fractioned. So you can't avoid it forever. You need to be able to take the issue and put it on the table very respectfully. Now, one of the things that has always stumped me, and this stumps me very much so, is when I observe within the HR team, you have the senior HR person acting like they are untouchable, acting like they are unaccountable to anybody. And I'm thinking to myself, you are in human resources, you can't do this. You are accountable. If you carry on like that, you best believe it, your team members will not tell you when things are not working. They would that in itself fosters the us versus you narrative. And could it just be that maybe in the past they have tried to voice some of these things and you have shut them down? You have not allowed them to speak freely, to understand what the issue was and try to navigate it with them. Again, I am not saying you should be the ice cream man trying to please everybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, do you provide an atmosphere where people feel like we can talk about things? There are difficult things, but we can talk about it. There is trust in the team. And I know that's a really, really touchy subject, because you can then say to me, oh, Olutoyin, in my organization, there is no trust, and that's top down. That's fine. I know that happens. We understand that exists. But we're talking about the HR team now. We're talking about within the HR team. Do they feel like they have to constantly watch their backs? Do they feel safe to say stuff? To know that, okay, this is protected, this is a safe space. If you're not able to create that environment in your team, there is work to do. I'm going to say it as it is. There is work to do. There is work for you to do, not for the team to do, for you to do. Because you need to be able to create an atmosphere where people can feel safe in order to be able to say some of the things that are perhaps unpleasant for you to hear. Maybe your leadership style is abrasive. Maybe you absolutely dominate every conversation. Maybe you are cunning and you're manipulative, and it is only what you want that gets done. And you have to be able to take that feedback. If you intend to have a long-term HR career that is truly successful, that is truly impactful, that is legacy building, then you must be able to take on that feedback. You must be able to take yourself into a dark room to say, you know what? couple of things needs to change. We've seen many times when senior HR people are asked to leave because their style is just so abrasive. Everyone in their team have left. Like the attrition rate in HR is at an all-time high. I'm not saying you're the fault, but you could be the fault if your style is so authoritarian, you're not taking any feedback, you're not willing to listen to any feedback. If that has been your style, there is room for improvement, and you can't make that improvement. You can't make that improvement. Let's not wait until we do a 360-degree feedback to start hearing things and you're like, oh, my team said that, and then you're expressing surprise. No, don't express surprise at things like that. Of course, they will say that because the feedback is anonymous, so I can afford to say anything that I want to say. But how much more better is it that we have these regular conversations where we say things, we're not targeting anyone, but we give direct feedback in the spirit of respect, in the spirit of humility, in the spirit of openness and a willingness to improve. And this feedback is mutual. Because again, there can be no harmonious work within the team if we can't say what we think, at least to a large extent. So let's ask that question again. Do you have a me versus them mentality? What is spoiling it? How can we get off that mentality? In the HR Growth Network, I provide support to senior HR people to navigate challenges such as this. If you think you would benefit from being in a one-on-one coaching relationship with me, please get on my website, www.tolutoyinwilliams.co.uk, and click on the tab Programs. And let's get you started. Till the next time when I come your way again in the HR Growth Network podcast, please take care of yourself. I'm rooting for you, and I know that you will succeed. Bye.